what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. Taylor, you went to LSU practice. We got a lot of Blake Baker audio to get to. We'll probably switch to LSU for quite a few segments here now. Also, I have some insecurities that are continuing to plague me about this LSU team. Taylor, you went to practice, so what are your big practice takeaways?
The defense is at least a lot more competitive than they were this time last year. I mean, last year you're like, oh man, the offense is great, but it looks like they're running routes on air half the time. Now, I will say, I think the D-line has actually improved more than the DBs. Because when they were running 11 on 11, I mean, Nussmeier struggled. The offense as a whole struggled. There were some low snaps from DJ Chester, which forced Nussmeier to rush his throw. Ended in a pick. But 7 on 7, Nussmeier's just playing pitch and catch back there. So, I mean, I think the D-line's actually improving a little bit more than the DBs are. No Gio Paez out there on Saturday. I thought that was a little interesting. Baker never really said why he wasn't out there. I mean, this was a guy that looked really good, was working with the ones right next to Jacoby and Guillory. They had Jalen Lee and Kemo McAneal in his place. Savion Jones actually played a little tackle. It was the first time I saw him there.
He's giant. You can bump him down on third down if you need to.
Secondary remained the same. Jordan Gilbert looks really good at safety. Jordan Allen's coming along as well. I don't know if he'll be there permanently. Did they move Sage Ryan back to safety? It was still Ryan and Stamps on the outside. Major Burns is star with Jawan Johnson mixed in a little bit.
Yeah, he's been they've been grooming him as the two.
He looked good. And if you put in an extra DB along with Major Burns, it has been Jair Brown. I guess is more like the traditional nickel. That's kind of who was out there with the ones on Saturday. The bad news, I don't think there's any way Zy Alexander is ready for the opener. He looked slow out there. He was out there. He's still recovering from that injury. He's running with the threes a little bit. He just looked hesitant. He had that big brace on his leg. Like, he'll give you something. I don't think it's going to be in the opener, though.
Yeah, I mean, no. And when we get to the Baker sound, he talked about Zy. And yeah, look, man, it's an ACL recovery. It's not just physical. It's mental. Also, they talk about him just hitting 20 miles an hour the other day again for the first time, which you gotta be pretty consistently playing around that speed, I guess, at that position.
Am I just being okay? Here's my problem. It feels like the last few years we keep hyping up LSU before these first games. We keep kind of decrying the opponent. We keep talking ourselves into it, and then everything falls apart. Even against Florida State last year, where I think we kind of tried to avoid that. Well, it still was more disappointing than I would have expected it to be. And so, and this year, I mean, I know I should be smarter, but I've kind of fallen into that, just taking USC for granted, saying, look at all the bad momentum that Lincoln Riley has right now. He's out here constantly trying to dodge games. He no longer has a Heisman quarterback in Caleb Williams. And even though, look, honestly, Miller Moss, great bowl game statistically, I still wasn't particularly impressed with, like how he looked actually in the game. It was a lot of floaty, throw it up and then let my receivers make a great play sort of stuff. But granted, I don't know. Will that work in the LSU secondary? Probably will. Doesn't sound like they're having the best camp. And then I think about this USC offensive line. 2 years ago, they were awesome. Last year, they took a major step back. That's one of the reasons why the team did. This year, it's about to transfer, so it's kind of hard to know exactly what they're going to do. But like, you have one of the best college offensive minds in Lincoln Riley. You have Miller Moss and all these young receivers who he played with in the bowl game who are all back. You got a transfer line that, I mean, are they good? I don't know. But and then you got an LSU defense that was so bad the last time that we saw them. It's like, well, how good can you get here in week one? And so I've been feeling uber confident up to this point. And so maybe this is just like anything else where naturally the closer you get to an event that you're a bit nervous about, you start to feel the full breadth of emotions, right? Like, what if I go up there and I forget what I'm going to say? What if I go up there and
Sean Foster?
Yeah, and like I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, exactly, right? Like, yes. Yeah, what if I just go to Sean Foster it?
Yeah.
Like LSU could. What I'm asking you is this thing, how confident are you? Is this closer than we've maybe felt like up to this point? Or is this just the natural run up to a big event where all of you run through all of your fears?
No, I mean, I told you from the get-go, I am not fully giving myself over like I had the last couple of years. I am in wait-and-see approach. These two teams mirror each other. They have a lot of same qualities to them. They have a lot of the same deficiencies to them. They have a lot of the same question marks to them. And I think it's 2 redshirt freshmen, maybe 2 transfers. You're going to be starting on the offensive line for USC. We mentioned you bring in Woody Marks from Mississippi State. He's a back that I think he's better catching the ball than he is running the football. How are they going to utilize him? Marshawn Lloyd, somebody that I thought a lot of. He's no longer there. He's in the NFL. Zachariah Branch is the player that a lot of people talk about. Can he be that player for USC? That's going to be some of their question marks. And, of course, Miller Moss being the quarterback. The defense for USC, it's got talented guys. Anthony Lucas from A&M, Bear Alexander, who made a lot of money in the NIL space, did not live up to it a year ago. He was a player that benefited a lot like some of the players in this last spring transfer portal cycle. It was such a position of need that he became more of a necessity than he probably should have been. And so can he step up his play?
Was it the playoff game that he played well?
No, just the national championship game.
Just okay, yeah. He had the one really, yeah.
I think he had a couple sacks. But everybody on Georgia's team had a couple of sacks. You look, I think it's 5 transfers. They're going to be starting on defense. So you're starting over in your defensive backfield. Corner and both safety positions are going to be transfers that you're trying to bring in. It's an unknown game because you don't know how their defense is going to react to all the changes. You don't know how your defense is going to react to all the changes. You have quarterbacks who we don't have a lot of game tape on. We have more of Garrett Nussmeier than we do Miller Moss, but the last time that we saw both these quarterbacks, they were lighting up the scoreboard. You've got talent at receiver. I mean, the thing that I think LSU has that USC absolutely does not is an offensive line. LSU's offensive line is way better right now than USC's, but still, like, I am not giving myself over to LSU just rolling the helmets out there and getting a dub in Las Vegas, because these teams, it's fascinating that they've got so many questions, but they're kind of the same questions.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. The narratives between these teams are insane in how similar they are, and even back to like the wonderful little flourishes about how basically both of these like coaches or at least Lee Raya and LSU used each other as smokescreens for their respective moves they made 3 years ago. So I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about. Again, feeling a little anxiety coming on.
No, I don't have. It's not really even an anxiety. It's just an unknown. Now, if you're telling me, looking at the rosters, looking at the 22 there, I still think LSU has more talent. Like, to me, that's not the question. Now, that gets you so far, but when I look at LSU's offensive line talent, when I look at the receiver room, when I look at certainly the running back room, I think even with LSU having some questions to some out there, I think that you've got solid options. You have 3 solid options right now, and I don't think that their starting running back, Woody Marks, would play over your top 3 options right now. And again, Woody Marks was at media day for Mississippi State. I think he's a good pass protector. I think he catches the ball really well. But I don't know that he can be RB1 for them the entire year and be what they need to replace Marshawn Lloyd. So, I mean, look, there's questions for LSU, no doubt about it. But even defensively, talent-wise, I still think you have the edge. But again, that only gets you in the door. You've got to go make plays to make everyone not just believe you're the most talented team, but to know you're the most talented team.
Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
I mean, those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.